And Detlef, over to you. You're also into financing, but you also have first-hand experience in agriculture farming. How do yourself and NewAg partners work, to generate projects, bankable pipeline projects in agriculture and regenerative agriculture in your institution? And how can you help corporates deliver on their regenerative landscaping commitments?
Yeah, so first of all, thanks for the opportunity, Chipo. And so maybe to explain a little bit where we're coming from. So obviously we're on a mission, all of us are on a mission here, and our mission is to help transform food systems by way of facilitating and managing investments in, at the end of the day, nature-based solutions. Now, when it comes to pipeline, there's always that, in my view, that misconception that pipeline is a problem. How can we deploy money at scale? Because we all know how large the financial universe is. Now, by way of background in our team, we have, and that's on purpose, we put a team together that combines financial market sophistication, farming and agribusiness skills, all of that in order to make it happen. Now, if you apply all that and have a look at the world, you find out very quickly that probably one of the least discovered, or at least least talked about mega trends in this context is driven by not climate change, but simply by demographics. I mean, these farmers that we saw on the screen earlier are what I call next generation farmers. You will find that most of them will have a neighbor that's getting out of business without a successor. So there is a multi-trillion-dollar equity gap in farming worldwide, both in developed and frontier and emerging markets, sometimes for slightly different reasons, but it is there. It's sucking in capital at an unprecedented scale. So all you need to do, all sounds a bit, playing it down a bit, but all you need to do is roll up your sleeves as an investor and be willing to get in alongside those farmers. And it's something, by the way, which I think almost 10 years ago we discussed with Rabobank in Australia, actually. And so today it's a lot more mission critical. So if you see those opportunities, if you see the amount of capital that is required simply because, older farmers are leaving the industry, average age of farmers in most OECD countries is around 60 years, not much better in frontier and emerging markets. So there's a massive exodus of not just people, but also equity. So here's the opportunity. So here you can bring in private capital and help it navigate that space, which is what we did at NewAg. We took one of the world's leading global institutions who brought in one of the United States' largest pension funds, who then brought in one of the world's largest owner and operators of farmland, and we applied our sort of toolkit of heat map and landscape and region-based sort of analysis and to a specific part of the US. Now, we do the same in frontier and emerging markets. So what we do is we activate, wherever we zoom in, we activate our network of local partners, practitioners. We then team up with local farmers, empower them, providing capital, technology, transform their business to regenerative agriculture, and vertically integrate. Vertical integration, we just heard the story, for us is absolutely mission critical because done right, i.e. holistically, it allows market signals to travel up and down, from the farmer to the consumers and backwards. Now, right now, as we speak, we have people on the ground in Brazil and Paraguay looking at a project that is, all in north of $1 billion, 170,000 hectares, 40,000 tons of cocoa, 750,000 tons of rice, and 70,000 hectares of restoration and protection of cerrado and forests and wetlands in Brazil and Paraguay. So it ticks all the boxes. You're stacking income streams on top of each other, from selling your commodities, even your food products, buy the carbon credits at some point, biodiversity credits, all all of that vertically integrated. Now, what we really need to get to scale, and we have the ambition to get to, say, $15 billion of that type of business model by 2030, what we need is what we've just heard in the previous panel, is offtake agreements that allow us to close that loop, providing the food industry and the retailers with nutritious, identity-preserved, regeneratively produced, nutrient-rich products, and giving the highest certainty of outcome for the investors that put their money to work.